Well, hi folks. Saturday, June 27th on Vancouver Island. Bit sun, bit of cloud, all in all a nice day, bit of wind as well. Trust everybody's fine, everybody's doing well. Still keeping ahead of that Wuhan waltz. Sort of a short one today, and as always I'm going to put a couple of links to a couple of videos in the description section. The one is a long one. I was sort of researching silver and ran across an article where this fellow had become a multimillionaire with his silver, so I wanted to see what his secret was. And the only video he had on was this one. And of course there wasn't anything much about silver in the sense of silver coins. But I think you'll find it interesting. It's long, and if you weed your way through that, you're going to find a whole lot about the Fed, the Agenda 21, or the globalist expansion, and it'll be informative. If it's your first time looking at something like that, buckle up, because it could be overwhelming. But it's intriguing. And if you have questions or comments, I'm always open to sort of questions. What else is going on today? There's some comedy going on as well. Maybe you've seen it. I've noticed there's a gym in the US that the regulations are face masks must be worn at all times in the gym unless you're exercising. And I thought, yeah, we're a funny bunch. And again, maybe I mentioned it before, some fellow in Scotland was fined the equivalent of 350 US for calling his ex-girlfriend's new fellow a leprechaun. They said it was a hate crime. And although that seems funny on the surface, when you look at how politically correct the language is in England, I find it really embarrassing and frightening in a sense. If I were living in England, I find it embarrassing and frightening. And my wife is from London, so she sort of shakes her head. She can't believe that's happening. You see police officers running, and this mob chasing them. Not once, not twice, several times now. The police running away from protesters. Where in the hell's the governments? Where in the hell are the mayors? Where in the hell people who are supposed to be leading and looking after people's safety and rights? It's a sad state of affairs when you see police officers running away. Of course, if they turned around and punched somebody in the nose, they're going to go to jail. It's crazy in England. Cops spend more time policing for someone using the wrong word, or for somebody breaking 6 foot distance in issuing tickets, than they do looking after the people who are being threatened by violent people. In Brixton, I mean, there were people standing on top of the police car smashing in windows, and the cops running the other way. Again, it was sort of sad, sort of frightening, and sort of embarrassing. So I think, we're not that far behind in Canada. There is a group of turkeys at Toronto City Hall, and I'm not sure if they've released the video yet. They had to take security and a lawyer with them. These people went to take a camera down because the city was all right with everybody camping in the square. This should be a public square, but the news people, they were charging them with trespassing if they didn't leave. I mean, everything's upside down and backwards. And then you look at stateside, scary stuff. And stock up on your toilet paper now, folks, and your rice and your beans and all that sort of thing. Start looking after yourself. Don't wait for the shelves to be empty, because I think we're in for a whole bunch of hurt coming down the road. It's unless somebody stands up and says, look, enough of this stuff. I see in Scotland, I look around because you're looking at the United Kingdom, keeping an eye on Europe, as mainland Europe as well, States and Canada, because I mean these are the three places they would like to sort of overrun. So I keep an eye on it, and I noticed in Scotland the council was, government was all trying to pass a resolution to apologize for discrimination, the systemic discrimination and white privilege. And I'm thinking, holy shit, what the hell are you talking about? You know, my friends, my black friends laugh at that. I mean, they're more successful than I am. And if I were to start apologizing to them, they would look at me and say, what's the matter with you? We should be apologizing to you because you're not catching up. But we don't apologize. It's up to you. Run faster. Work faster. Do business faster. I guess maybe if you hang out with losers and you're looking at the bottom end, you're sort of feeling sorry. Maybe you're a loser yourself if you're doing that. But if you hang out with you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with, folks. And that sounds crazy, but that's true. Talking about minorities, I was looking at some census figures. Under the age of 16 in the United States, in the last census, under the age of 16, guess who's the minority? White folks. Check it out. And not that that's a bother to me. I mean, but all these people marching, looking after minorities, if you stood back and looked down on the world, all these sort of white bleeding hearts, you are the minority fools, and you don't realize it. And I think that whole problem, because whether they're Chinese, whether they're African Americans, whether they're from the Middle East, wherever people are from, the people I know are very, very successful. You don't have to apologize for them or to them. They don't want you to. It's a crazy thing. But as you look at it, this is what governments do when they're trying to change things. They want to get everybody fighting amongst themselves. So an easy thing is steal the Black Lives Matter banner, put a bunch of hooligans under there, and get everybody arguing and fighting among themselves. Well, I'm not buying into that, but I see a lot of people are. And they listen to Trudeau as he's on the bottom of the steps saying we suffer from systemic racism, white privilege, and we got to look at reforming the police officers, blah, blah, blah. Well, everything could be reformed, but I do not agree with Trudeau's statements. I think he's bullshitting like he does a lot of times. I mean, he's in on this thing, folks. He's in on this takeover. And, well, I guess you have your own, make up your own opinion about that, but don't be a fool don't be a tool, don't play the fool for these guys. And that's what we're doing, playing right into their hands. And it's crazy. I guess that's about it for today. I'll post those links for you. And again, one's a long link, but suffer through the first hour anyway, because it'll give you it goes through Carnegie, Rockefeller, and J.P. Morgan, how they sort of designed this whole thing in connection with the Rothschilds. Maybe you already know that, but this is really cool. Some old footage there too. I'm not sure where this guy found it, but it was interesting. There's some interesting quotes from Kissinger as well, and other people about Karl Rove, about the average person. How they want to keep these dumbasses dumb and let them work harder. Throw them a few pennies and they'll work harder, sort of thing. I know most people don't want to think about that. If you got 2-3 degrees, you don't want to think that you're just a tool for the fools, or playing the fool, used as a tool by the psychos. But that's where it is. That's about all for now. Take care. Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.